You get to the ballpark for a game seven and you try to do everything the way you do, the way you prepare, the things you eat. But in the back of your head, when the stakes are this high, your mind wanders. Your mind wanders forward to what happens if we win, what happens if we lose. Don't believe players or managers or executives who tell you we are solely focused on the job at hand. That's what we're taught to say. It's impossible. Picture yourself, whatever you'd be doing before a game seven, trust me, that's what we're doing. We're just human beings, totally subject to the whims of the world, the absolute nightmares that can happen, and the glorious moments that can happen. Players are visualizing. You only need to have one good game to be MVP. Shohei Ohtani, Dodgers. We'll talk about that game a little bit, but oi, what a game four he had. So you're visualizing. You know the lineup. Am I coming off the bench? Am I the pinch hitter? What am I looking at? Which bullpen arm will I face? Where am I in the lineup? Pretty certain that the lineups will be identical to what you saw in game three. However, it will be interesting. I would assume Rosarena will be down and Rodriguez will hit leadoff again. But you have in your mind that I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be the one. Because if you can be Aaron Boone, then you're Aaron Boone forever. It doesn't matter if you become a manager and that you can't win as a manager, you can't get the 28th ring. What matters is when you hit a walk-off home run in a game seven of an LCS to bring your team to the World Series, that's it. That is a defining moment. So you're picturing what the defining moment will be as the president of a team or the GM. What they're doing is we go through every scenario before the game. We're checking it twice like we are Santa's list, for crying out loud. We're going through everything we've seen for the first six games, and we're looking at every matchup, every possible pitching situation that could come up. We're looking at every defensive positioning. We're looking at everything. Not a lot of sleep before a game seven when you're an executive, when you're a coach, because you need to be prepared. What is the thing that when you close your eyes as president of a team that you want most in game seven, if you had to guess? The number one, and there's not even a close number two. If you can stop the manager from walking out to the mound until the seventh inning of a game seven, that's it. You've done it. That's if I'm given one dream, my dream for the Mariners is that George Kirby goes seven. If I am John Schneider of the Blue Jays, my dream is Shane Bieber gets me into the seventh inning. You plan for trouble in the first. You're ready for trouble in the second. But your dream is seven. The reason we got here is that this series has been absolutely fantastic. The first two games in Toronto, don't forget, the Mariners have an 89% chance of winning this game seven. Why do I say that? Why are they underdogs? After winning the first two in Toronto, the math said no one comes back except for 11% of the teams can come back and win a series after losing the first two at home. We went over that after game two. Those odds don't change just because it's tied at three. It's the equivalent of saying that in a roulette wheel, because you've had six reds in a row, that the odds of black for the seventh spin become greater than what they were. The odds are the odds are the odds. You look at the series in totality. On the other hand, you look at what the Blue Jays are doing since they were down 2-0. That's right, they've won 3 out of 4 games. How did they beat the Mariners 3 out of 4 times? Well, their offense. The ability for their offense to absolutely make the Mariners starting pitching, which was the difference maker, it went away. Pitching as a way to win games for the Mariners went away 3 out of 4 times. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who I heard after the game, Coca, unbelievably, well, Guerrero played for the Expos and the Angels, so maybe not that unbelievably, but Vladimir Guerrero already has more postseason home runs than his father did, his Hall of Fame father did in his whole career. Vladimir Guerrero hit his 6th postseason home run last night. They're having a hard time getting him out. If I'm game planning the Mariners, I'll tell you who's not beating me tonight. Hard stop. They have a deep lineup. Good. I am more than happy for that Boone doppelganger Clement to beat me. Fine. You want to get another home run from Barger? I'm good. Varsho for his dad goes deep. I'm fine. Springer on one knee. Go get him. There is no way Vladimir Guerrero beats me if I'm Seattle and I'm game planning this game. Not happening. Seattle had its opportunities last night. They certainly did. They had bases loaded 3. I believe it was 2 straight innings. One of them with no outs, couldn't score. They did something that I had not seen except in my nightmares. 3 straight innings, they grounded into an inning-ending double play. Seattle's defense completely disappeared. Suarez at third base, he's better than that. They had 3 errors. It was just an unfortunate game 6 for them, period. But it doesn't change the reality of what this game 7 could be. You've got the Mariners playing 27 defensive outs for their first World Series appearance ever. You have the Blue Jays 27 defensive outs from their first World Series since 1993. I did a quick check. 1993, as I know you can all do the math, is about, just call it 32 years ago if you're willing. Then I did the math of people watching this show. Staggering to me, but I'm thankful, 68% of you weren't even alive. How great is that? That's how long it's been for both of these teams. Do you know what the Blue Jays and the Mariners are not thinking about? Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, Ohtani, Freeman, Betts, Ohtani, Hernandez. None of them. The focus is solely on getting through today because you've got plenty of days to the World Series. Because of the way off days work, Game 1 of the World Series is not until Friday night. So anyone who pitches tonight, and I could argue even Kirby if he needed to, because it would be short rest for Game 1 because he got 3 days rest, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're not going to start Kirby Game 1 if they win, but I'm just telling you that both teams will be ready to go for the World Series fully lined up. While we were gone over the weekend, we missed a couple of other ALCS games, and I just wanted to point out something that happened that is going to be forgotten about, but it shouldn't be. When Toronto was coming back and winning games 3 and 4, there's a ninth hole hitter, a trade deadline acquisition, a defensive wizard, and an offensive zero. Andres Jimenez was acquired by the Blue Jays. It was one of those acquisitions you're like, oh, he's a good player. Well, really good defender, but his bat has been quiet. He had one good year with the Guardians. When your number 9 hitter hits back-to-back 2-run home runs, one to tie and one to take a lead in a game, you know very well that you've got a lineup that is to be feared.